Southern California, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Today we have ourselves quite a show, as we have a lot to get into in the world of Southern California sports, such as the Dodgers struggles, but they got some reinforcements, as the Padres really let them have it in their two-game series. And the Padres have also been doing really good. I can't say the same for the Angels, as they unfortunately have received bad news and then some, with Mike Trout being out for the season. Ugh! Such a gut-wrenching thing to see. And the Chargers and Rams have kicked off training camp, but the Chargers have a little bit of an injury of their own, as Justin Herbert, their quarterback, is out for at least 2 weeks with a foot injury. Also, an ACL injury has sidelined Darian Hendricks for the Rams. The Rams were really quick to sign his replacement. Who did they sign? Also, LAFC and LA Galaxy have been doing pretty good in the MLS play, but now they're in the group stage play of the 2024 League Cup. Can they win said League Cup, and can they make it to the knockout round? All that and more here on the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. This is Teran Rodriguez bringing you another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on iSports, your best leader for all that is sports. And welcome one, welcome all to another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Thank you all for joining me on this beautiful Friday afternoon, Friday morning, Friday evening, Friday wherever you are listening from. Either way, you've made your way into episode 189 of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. And without any further delay, let us begin. But first and foremost, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show would not be live without IA Sports Radio providing the platform to go live on StreamYard. Please do follow IA Sports Radio on several different social media platforms, such as X, formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, for as long as that's going to be up, Instagram, and Facebook. Please do follow us on Facebook. And we are also available on several different podcast platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music / Audible, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, GeoSavin, Podchaser. The list goes on and on. And definitely check out our website, iSportsRadio.com, for all of your latest sports news, your blog, or our blog, our merchandise shop where you can cop t-shirts, tank tops, caps, curve build or straight build or duck build as we like to call it, and sweaters for the winter. And also check out some more IE Sports Radio swag in our shop. And we also have pages dedicated to each show, such as the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Definitely check that out. For the last 10 years, IA Sports Radio has bring you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Thank you to everyone for all of your support and for making IA Sports Radio your direct feed for all that sports. The way you can follow the SoCal Supreme Sports Show is on X, formerly known as Twitter, at SoCal Show IESR. And you can follow me, Teran Rodriguez, on X, formerly known as Twitter, mainly at Teran Rodriguez 1. And we would also like to give a huge shout to our sponsors, Plant Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, and Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. And with that being said, let's actually tell you about those sponsors right now.
IE Sports Radio fans, This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
That's right, everybody. Definitely check out our amazing sponsors, Planet Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, and Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. Something to note when it comes to Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, if you order yourself a bag of Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky and you basically message the people at Planet Jerky that you heard their ad on one of our shows on IE Sports Radio, you will get a bag of jerky for free while supplies last. And with all that said and done, let's get on into the sports action. First and foremost, I do want to apologize for not going live last week. Unfortunately, I tried to do the show by my lonesome on my laptop, but let's just say I ran into a bunch of tech issues and it made the show very choppy and sloppy. So unfortunately, and I want to give y'all the best that I can bring when it comes to this show, as well as Set Point and 3 and Out College Edition. So I do apologize if I couldn't go live last week, but it is what it is. We have a lot to go over, as I actually want to make this my 4-year anniversary show, because unfortunately I didn't get a chance to celebrate my 4-year anniversary with the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, as that actually fell on a Monday, and as most of you know, Set Point falls on a Monday, but I digress. So we're going to make this show our 4-year anniversary special, so there'll probably be an edit in the title stamp when it comes to the playback. That's for a little later. But let's talk a little of some NFL, as they actually got started yesterday with the Hall of Fame game. But we don't care about the Hall of Fame game just because Caleb Williams didn't play. We didn't see former Charger Keenan Allen play. And the Chargers or Rams didn't play in the Hall of Fame game. So we didn't really care about that. But what has started this week was the Chargers training camp. So the Chargers training camp is underway. We've seen some good standouts such as Ladd McConkey. He's been great, as well as some of the other Chargers receivers. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards has been looking good. The defense has been looking solid as a rock. Justin Herbert has also looked good. Unfortunately, Justin Herbert suffered an injury yesterday, or I think, it was yesterday. And his injury is a plantar fascia in his right foot. And he'll be out for at least 2 weeks. So no training camp for him. He's going to be in a walking boot. So this begs the question, how crucial is Justin Herbert's injury? And it means he's going to be missing out on reps. And this is an injury that's going to be lingering. Now, I have never had plantar fascia before, and I hope to God I never have plantar fascia. But foot injuries linger quite a bit throughout the entire season. But this is the same quarterback that had a rib injury throughout most of the 2022-23 season, and he still played through it like a champ. So hopefully Justin Herbert can get past this plantar fascia injury. I hope it is not too serious. The Chargers eventually, once he's out of that walking boot, they're going to try to ramp up his reps and his play in practice in training camp before week 1 against Raiders. I had to do it like that. I'm sorry if I blew up anyone's earbuds and headphones. But yeah, the Chargers will open up week 1 against the Raiders at SoFi Stadium. So I hope that Justin Herbert is ready for week 1. It would really suck if he missed week 1 because we all know the last time Easton Stick started a game for the Chargers against the Raiders. It was we don't talk about that anymore. But we do wish nothing but the best for Justin Herbert. There have been a little bit of injuries here and there for the Chargers. As long as they're not like major, as long as they're not season-ending injuries like 2019 where Derwin James tore his ACL and he was out for the season, that was brutal right there. So as long as these injuries aren't too big, I think the Chargers should be fine. Though that plantar fascia injury is really concerning. And my heart just pretty much dropped when I saw Justin Herbert was on the news with that injury. It's like, oh no. It's like, I'm just gonna also say this: it's not even season, and the Chargers are starting to break my heart. Oh, but as long as Justin Herbert's ready for the season, I think the Chargers should still find some success. Week 1 is going to be such an interesting game because you've got the Raiders who pretty much. Well, they're kind of in the middle of the road. This would be a big win for them as well as the Chargers to start out. Just because both teams are still in their unknown stages. They're still in that wild card. They're still in that wild card echelon. And when I mean wild card, they could be an ace card, a 1 or an 11, which, funny enough, the Raiders are in Vegas, and Vegas has lots of card games and whatnot. So I felt the need to say that. But yeah, the Chargers injury to Justin Herbert really sucks. But something that has been a positive is Ladd McConkey, who was the 2nd-round pick for the Chargers, and some are actually leading up to this. Is Ladd McConkey a wide receiver 1 for the Chargers? That's a bit of a stretch if you ask me. Now, Ladd McConkey is at least going to be wide receiver 2 at the very least. Maybe 3 if Jim Harbaugh just doesn't give him the green light to do so. But Ladd McConkey is still a starting wide receiver for the Chargers because you've got Joshua Palmer, who's probably going to be wide receiver 1 because of experience and whatnot. Maybe DJ Chark, and then obviously Ladd McConkey, and then there's Quentin Johnston, who, But we'll see what happens. Ladd McConkey as wide receiver 1 would be rather interesting. As Nathan of the Seattle Sideline says, that's so rough for the Chargers. I really liked Ladd in the draft. Well-rounded receiver. And yeah, that the whole Justin Herbert injury just really sucks, and plantar fascia is nothing to play around with. But Ladd McConkey is been doing really good in training camp, and I like this for them. I think Ladd McConkey can really develop himself into a big offensive threat for the Chargers. And obviously, the wide receiver just got massively blown up with the departures of Keenan Allen, as well as Mike Williams, and I guess Jalen Guyton to boot as well. But I think getting Ladd McConkey in the 2nd round was so clutch. That was so big because the Chargers knew they were going to be getting, in terms of like top receivers, they were either going to get Malik Neighbors, who was such a beast at LSU, or they were going to get Marvin Harrison Jr., which was obviously the goal. Unfortunately, the Cardinals nabbed Marvin Harrison Jr., and eventually they went with Joe Alt, which was definitely big right there. They obviously need those big boys, or as Larry B would call them, the refrigerator players. But yeah, they got to protect Justin Herbert at all costs. Make sure he has no more injuries other than that one injury. But to go back to wide receiver 1 for Ladd McConkey, I don't think he's a wide receiver 1 yet. he'll eventually be a wide receiver one in the near future. It all depends on what happens with Joshua Palmer, and I hope to God the Quentin Johnston experiment does not blow up in their face. They could have had freaking Trey. What's his name? Trey Flowers? I'm sorry, Zay Flowers. I've got Trey Flowers, the former Charger, on my mind. It's Zay Flowers. They could have had Zay Flowers, but no, they had to go with Quentin Johnston. But we'll see what happens. Maybe he'll have a sophomore breakout year, and then we'll see if DJ Chark can make his way into the lineup. I imagine it's going to be Chark, Chark, Palmer, and McConkey as the three-headed monster. Maybe Quentin Johnston as like a deep end zone threat, but we'll see. All right, but that is that for the Chargers training camp. Again, nothing too big for the Chargers. Obviously, the Justin Herbert injury hurts, and there have also been some other dinged-up Chargers players, but nothing to really hit the panic button about. As Alden K of Always Arizona Sports says, have a good show, man. Hey, thanks a bunch. And you had yourself a great show as well. Sorry if I couldn't really fully tune in. Had to prepare for this show, but you really crushed it as always, Alden. So let's go jump over to the Rams. So Rams training camp, it's underway as well. But unfortunately, last week, the Rams got dealt with some bad news. The Rams actually saw a season-ending injury for Darian Kendrick, who was actually supposed to be their starting cornerback one. He was supposed to be one of their starting cornerbacks. And unfortunately, he is out for the season with a torn ACL. We've already had 3 torn ACLs when it comes to this training camp this season. But I digress. But yeah, Darian Kendrick is out for the season with a torn ACL, which really sucks. Now, the Rams defense is obviously young and inexperienced. And with this injury, it really, really hurts just as much. However, the Rams were very quick to sign his replacement as they signed Jerry Jacobs in wake of this injury. So Jerry Jacobs is a former cornerback for the Detroit Lions. And funny enough, the Rams seem to be getting more former Lions players. But then again, the Rams also saw the departure of Josh Reynolds, which eventually saw his way to the Lions team as well. But I digress. All right, so this was kind of an interesting signing as let me tell you his numbers. So his numbers, he started 29 out of 40 games for Detroit. He actually was an undrafted free agent, which I think is pretty cool. And he's also a junior college product coming out of Hutchinson Community College. So that's a nice little fun fact right there. But that's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of those fun facts. But for Jerry Jacobs, last season he had 49 tackles, he had 3 interceptions, and he had 8 passes deflected. So the interceptions weren't bad, and obviously the passes deflected were pretty good. His numbers with Detroit in all 3 seasons, he had 131 tackles with 116 coming by himself. He had 1 sack, and then he had 4 picks. So most of his interceptions came last season. And he did pick, and some, now we jump on over to the interesting fun facts about the former Detroit Lion, Jerry Jacobs. So he's picked off Jordan Love twice, the Green Bay Packers quarterback. And believe it or not, those Rams actually play the Packers in Week 5 at SoFi Stadium. And let me just say, I am so freaking glad the Rams are playing the Packers at SoFi and not at freaking Lambeau Field. I don't know what it is with the Rams struggling to play the Packers at Lambeau Field, but thank goodness. No more chilly weather. No more having to go from Southern California all the way to the Midwest. The Rams get to play the Packers in SoFi. Thank goodness. But, yeah, and like I said, he is a junior college product and undrafted free agent. I think, and he's a physical player. He's a physical player, and he is not afraid to get down and dirty with the players. Well, what I mean down and dirty, he's not afraid to get in. He's not afraid to like force incompletions or force dropped passes. So there you have it right there for Jerry Jacobs. I think this is a good signing. It gives the Rams a lot more experience as opposed to, I mean, he's only a 4-year player, but it gives him experience, and he has playoff experience as well, which is totally valuable. That was kind of what the Rams were lacking throughout most of their team, mainly their defense outside of Aaron Donald. But This definitely gives them some help in terms of the secondary. And some of the Rams' notable cornerbacks are as follows. Obviously, Jerry Jacobs is one. Tre'Davious White, he was signed from the Buffalo Bills. Kobe Durant is still with the Rams as well. I think that's pretty cool. And then lastly is Darius Williams, who was signed from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, however, Darius Williams suffered a little bit of a strained hamstring injury, which really sucks. But it doesn't look like it's too big, but that strained hamstring does not do him any favors for this upcoming season. So I'm hoping he heals up because he's the oldest of the bunch when it comes to the Rams' corners. And while he is the oldest, he's actually not the most experienced, as that actually falls under that superlative actually goes to Tre'Davious White. So I still think their quarterback room is good with those veterans. I just think it's going to take some time for the veterans to help the rookies and youngins with adapting to life without players like Jalen Ramsey and whatnot. But another player who actually departed from the Rams is Ahkello Witherspoon, who actually was pretty phenomenal last year. It was pretty big. So my big question is, should the Rams, also in wake of the Darion Kendrick injury, bring back Ahkello Witherspoon? Now, Sean McVay has not ruled out Ahkello Witherspoon coming back to the Rams. And his numbers for the Rams last year, he actually had 3 interceptions and 14 passes deflected, which is actually tied for top 9 in the league, which I think is pretty good. I think the Rams could definitely use a player like Ahkello Witherspoon, especially since he has that familiarity with the Rams. So that's my thing right there. And I think that would be such a great addition just because he did shine with the Rams in the secondary. And I really think that the Rams could use more experience because he had experience with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Detroit Lions, or Detroit Lions then Pittsburgh Steelers. And now he is back on, he's still floating around. He's a free agent, but I would not be surprised if the Rams want to bring him back. If Sean McVay says, do not rule out a comeback for him, I think we should all not rule out a comeback for Ahkello Witherspoon. All right, but that's going to do it for the Rams portion of the show. I'll have more when it comes to the Rams and Chargers, especially since season is getting close. We're approximately like 1 month away from seeing the Rams and Chargers kick off their season. And I'm not going to really go in depth when it comes to preseason, just because preseason does not matter in the slightest. Anything preseason, unless it's like injury wise or if a player really stands out. But I'm not going to really hit the panic button if the Chargers suck in preseason or if the Rams stink in preseason. We're not going to do that. All right, but that's that for the NFL portion of the show. Jumping over to the college football portion of the show. Yes, we actually have some college football. It's official. USC and UCLA are Big Ten teams. Now, some of us are probably throwing up, and some of us are excited for this just because UCLA and USC are joining the big dogs. The Pac-12 is dead and whatnot. And USC and UCLA are officially Pac-12 team or Big Ten teams, which I think is going to be it's going to take some getting used to when it comes to this, just because when you think of the Big Ten, you don't really think of the West Coast. But USC and UCLA are officially in the Big Ten. It's going to take a lot of getting used to when it comes to like all sports, mainly football, but I digress. So unfortunately, the Big Ten does not do a preseason poll, which I think is stupid. But Cleveland.com actually did a preseason poll when it comes to Big Ten and football. So top 18, there are 18 teams in the Big Ten. We should really call it the Big 18. There are 18 teams in the Big Ten, and basically these are the top 18 teams and where they're going to be ranked, starting with 11 through 18. So obviously 18 is Purdue, 17 is Indiana, 16 is Michigan State, UCLA is 15, 14 is Northwestern, Illinois 13, Minnesota 12, and Maryland is 11. So UCLA, as we all see, they are right here, number 15. So my big thing is UCLA better than number 15 when it comes to the Big Ten? I really think they are. But I also will say this. If Deshaun Watson's preview or preseason presser is like UCLA's gameplay, then I'm not looking forward. Because if you all saw Deshaun Foster's presser when it came to the Big Ten Media Day, it looks like he was pretty nervous, but we all get nerves here and there. I mean, look at Nick Sirianni. He was a nervous train wreck when he was introduced as the Eagles coach, and he found big success with the Eagles, taking them to the Super Bowl. So maybe this is a good sign for Deshaun Foster. And Deshaun Foster is a former UCLA guy, Southern California product, coming out of Tustin High School. So I think for UCLA, they're going to see some growing pains. Ethan Garbers is the man to go when it comes to being the quarterback. You really can't go with anyone else unless Garbers is injured, heaven forbid. I really think UCLA is going to be a fun team. I hope for UCLA's sake he doesn't get injured and no one big time gets injured. I have a little soft spot for Garbers because he and I actually did see some of his games back in high school at Corona Del Mar High School. But he's phenomenal. I think he can definitely lead the Bruins to some wins and maybe a bowl game. National championship, I don't know. And Big Ten championship, I don't know. So that was the 11 through 18 teams. So let's jump to the 1 through 10 teams. So as you can all see, number 10 is Washington. Rutgers is number 9. Nebraska is 8. Wisconsin is 7. USC is 6. Iowa is 5. Michigan is 4. Penn State is 3. 2 is Oregon, which garnered 6 first place votes. And then number 1 is the Ohio State. So USC, can they make some noise with Miller Moss as their quarterback? My answer to that is yes. I feel that they can. He shined against Louisville in the San Diego Bowl, but I still need to be convinced by him. Like, USC is not going to be playing too many cupcakes when it comes to this season. They're going to be playing some really darn good teams, and I think USC really needs to jump on the win train as soon as possible. And it's basically any given week when it comes to the Big Ten. And USC obviously had themselves a dreadful season. Obviously, expectations were super high for the Trojans last year. Got to a good start. Then the defense reared its ugly head under Alex. Stole the defense from USC. Grinch. That was a bad one, I know. But yeah, USC's defense was absolutely atrocious, and it led to the firing of Alex Grinch. Thank goodness. And hopefully for USC's sake, they can go up from here. And I think for USC, as long as they're like competitive against some of these teams, because number 6, I don't understand. Something I won't understand is this, something I won't understand is this. Why is USC number 6? What makes Iowa so special? Isn't Iowa the team that wound up winning 10 games, but had the lowest points per game total? Like, what makes Iowa special? What? Am I missing something here? But this isn't the Iowa Sports Show. This is the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. So I'll get to Iowa when I do 3 and Out College Edition. But USC, I think they're a top 5 team in the Big Ten. I don't know if Michigan can stay true with them. Penn State is so mid. And everyone and their mommies is picking Oregon versus Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. I think USC can maybe throw a little bit of a monkey wrench in some of those plans. Now, I'm not saying that they will be in the Big Ten championship game, but I still think they could make it pretty close because Michigan lost most of its team and they have a new head coach. Penn State, like I said, they're very mid. Iowa, I'm just not sold on. I don't understand why people are on the Iowa train. And I think USC can handle a majority of the other teams. Maybe UCLA can give them a run for their money just because rivalry game and whatnot. But I will say, I think USC should be in good hands this season. They should be a bowl game team. But I will also say it's going to feel weird not seeing them play Stanford and Notre Dame. Those are rivalry games, dude. You got to bring those rivalry games back, Lincoln Riley. Do it. Anyway. So that's going to basically do it for the USC and UCLA portion of the show. We're actually going to take ourselves a quick little commercial break. When we come back, we've got some MLS to discuss after having missed last week, as well as the 2024 Leagues Cup preliminary round or pool play round. And then we've got some MLB to discuss, the Dumb of the Week, and what it means to be celebrating 4 years with the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Keep it locked here. You are listening to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. We are coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, Pittsburgh? This is Ralph Calise, the host of the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Are you that passionate, diehard Steelers, Penguins, Pirates, or just a Pittsburgh sports fan? Then please join me on the Injury Report every Tuesday on IE Sports Radio, the direct feed for all that is sports, and I will update you on all that's black and gold. Have you telling your Pittsburgh fans and friends what's up with Pittsburgh sports. Tune in Tuesday with me, Ralph Calise, the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go!
That's right, everybody. Definitely check out the Injury Report with Ralph Calise, as well as Gloves Off with Marcus Los Great. Well, welcome back to the second part of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I also want to give a shout out to Ralph Calise. His show is on and popping when it comes to talking about Pittsburgh sports as well as the Pittsburgh Steelers. He garnered a lot of viewers, and I just got to say, I'm downright impressed. He hasn't even been with IE Sports Radio for a year, and he has been absolutely tearing it up with the Injury Report. So gotta give a quick tip of the hat to him. But with that being said, let's get on back to the SoCal sports action. So last week, as we all know, I didn't go live, so unfortunately I couldn't really talk about LAFC and the Galaxy. So I know I'm a week late with this, but LAFC and the Galaxy concluded the first part of the MLS play as LAFC, they had themselves an important game at Lumen Field against the Seattle Sounders. But despite Seattle not having lost a match in 8 matches, LAFC was able to pull out a big 3-0 win on the road, which was very impressive. Again, it was the Sounders' first loss in 9 matches, and their first loss since June 8th. So they hadn't lost in almost 2 months, or a month and a half for that matter. As Captain Los Angeles, Dennis Bouanga, helped LAFC strike first with a goal in the 16th minute, and that gave LAFC a 1-0 lead. Later on, Mateusz Bagusz scored for LAFC to put them up 2-0 in the second half, as LAFC led 1-0 at halftime, but then Mateusz Bagusz scored to give them a 2-0 lead. And then later on, Bouanga was able to knock in a penalty shot in the 74th minute to put the game out of reach, because once you're down 3-0, you're pretty much in hot water. So LAFC wound up winning the match despite the Sounders winning the possession battle 65.4% to 34.6%. So my takeaway for this matchup is this. This is an incredible win. LAFC and the Sounders are rivals, and with how hot the Sounders were, I did not really think that LAFC had too much of a shot to win, but that's a statement win right there. I can't believe LAFC really gave it to the Sounders, because Seattle is one of the more improved teams this season. Like, they start off really not so great, and then they really started to catch fire. So I was downright impressed with how LAFC responded and how they played so great on the road, even though possession was fully in favor of the Sounders. But despite this, LAFC really put on a show on the road. And I just got to say, I'm just downright impressed by LAFC. I think that it's wins like that that can really propel a team going forward. And then meanwhile, the Galaxy, on the other hand, they stayed in first place in the Western Conference with a solid 3-2 win over the Portland Timbers. Now, the Portland Timbers are also a very good Western Conference team, as through 35 minutes, there was no goal, but Gabriel Peck broke through, as in the 38th minute, he scored the first goal of the match to put the Galaxy up 1-0. And then 3 minutes after halftime, Ricard Puig was able to put in another goal for the Galaxy to put them up 2-0. So everything was looking good for the Galaxy, but the Portland Timbers did not go down that easily, as Teran Rodriguez scored 4 minutes after Puig's goal, as it was 2-1 in favor of the Galaxy. But the Galaxy were able to get a goal 6 minutes after that, as Joseph Painstill was able to score for the Galaxy to put them up 3-1. And Santiago Moreno did bring Portland one goal closer at 3-2, but the Galaxy held on to win at home to get the full 3 points. And this is a big win, just because now both LAFC and the LA Galaxy are on Olympic break. But this was such a big win for the Galaxy. The Galaxy are playing so great. It helps when they actually have better ownership or a better GM, unlike Chris Klein. But I am very impressed with the LA Galaxy. I really think that the Galaxy are so great. I'm just impressed by them overall. Now, they obviously can't get too high just on these wins, just because there's still plenty of season left, and they just can't afford to get overconfident and basically find themselves in a bad situation where they lose their lead in the Western Conference and they get a bad matchup to start in the playoffs. But I'm officially impressed with the Galaxy. I'm also impressed with LAFC. Obviously, there are teams that have been going from best in their conference to worst in their conference, a la St. Louis. But LAFC has not shown any signs of a MLS back-to-back cup hangover, especially when they lost in the championship match to Columbus Crew. But I'm impressed with both teams. Both teams are off from MLS play until August, but that doesn't mean they're off when it comes to gameplay, as, oh no. No. Can't be doing this to me. Sorry about that. But LAFC and LA Galaxy are both still in action, as LAFC and the Galaxy are actually in the Leagues Cup, in the 2024 Leagues Cup, as LAFC started off with a nice 3-0 win over Tijuana, but unfortunately they fell to the Vancouver Whitecaps in penalty kicks 4-2. So it was tied 2-2, went into penalty kicks, and eventually LAFC wound up losing, which is a very sucky way to go out. So this Saturday, Vancouver plays Tijuana. If Tijuana beats Vancouver, then I think LAFC gets in through group stage play. But if Vancouver wins, then they advance. And I think Tijuana and LAFC basically are left in the dust. As for the LA Galaxy, they started off group stage play with a 2-1 win over San Jose. And I'm just going to say this. The Galaxy own SoCal. They have not lost to not the Galaxy, not SoCal. The Galaxy own San Jose. They have not lost to San Jose in a hot minute. And I think their last loss to San Jose was 2020. The San Jose Quakes cannot shake up the LA Galaxy. End of discussion. Anyway, so yeah, that was a nice win right there for the Galaxy. They actually play Guadalajara on Sunday to close out group stage play. Imagine if the Galaxy win that one, they advance to the knockout round. And for LAFC, if they don't get to the knockout round, then honestly, it's not too big of a deal. It's just a midseason tournament just so that they don't get rusty and other teams don't get rusty, like Vancouver and San Jose and the Galaxy. But I will just say it would be pretty cool if they wound up winning the Leagues Cup. But unfortunately, the LFC kind of proved that they are human. The Galaxy, I'm interested to see how they'll do against Guadalajara. But all in all, I think that this is going to be it's going to be interesting to say the least on Sunday. And then Saturday, it's no longer in LAFC's hands. It's now in the hands of Tijuana. And hopefully for LAFC's sake, they get some help, as a win for Tijuana, I think, it would put all the teams at 1-1. And I think both like Whitecaps and LAFC got a point. But unfortunately, the Vancouver was able to I think they were able to get the tiebreaker over LAFC, which really sucks, but it is what it is. Again, it's a midseason tournament, nothing to really cry about. Believe it or not, LFC actually plays Vancouver once MLS play begins back in up in late August. So it's going to be really fun to see. So as long as LAFC lost that matchup, so at least they're getting the bad losses out of the way, or the tough losses out of the way. But once MLS play begins, we want to see some great gameplay from LAFC and the LA Galaxy. All right, well, that is that for the MLS portion of the show. We're actually going to jump to some MLB discussion. So I missed last week, so we're going to chop this up into two different parts. So we'll talk the Angels, Padres, and Dodgers from last week, then head to a commercial break, and then we'll talk about Angels, Padres, Dodgers in full depth this week. So Angels from the previous week, they actually played at the Oakland Athletics. They wound up losing the first game 13-3 and the second game 8-2, but wound up salvaging at least one win 8-5. And then against the Seattle Mariners, this was pretty impressive. They actually swept the Seattle Mariners. I'm not kidding you. That the Angels swept the Seattle Mariners. Because the Mariners were actually the leaders of the AL West. And for them to get swept by the Angels, that's pretty surprising. I haven't seen anything that surprising since the Angels wound up sweeping the Houston Astros back in the post-COVID season. But I digress. So the previous Monday, the Angels wound up winning. They wound up winning by close scores. They wound up winning on Monday 3-1, then Tuesday 5-1, and then Wednesday 2-1, which was a very, very great game. That's some good defense right there. For a team that really sucks with pitching, the Angels actually had quite a bit of good pitching against the Mariners. And that's only their fourth sweep of the season, as they swept the Padres, they swept the A's, and then they also swept the Miami Marlins. So yeah, four sweeps for the Angels this season. So that's that for the Angels right there. Jumping over to the Padres. Padres had themselves a nice little series against the Cleveland Guardians, as the Padres wound up, unfortunately, they lost the first game to the Guardians, to the dismay of Padres fans, 7-0, but they bounced back by returning the favorite to those Guardians, winning 7-0. And then Sunday, the Padres wound up winning the rubber match 2-1. Now their series against the Nationals. This was kind of a fun series, although the Nationals really stink. Sorry, Nationals fans and Mike Pat. So the past Tuesday, the Padres went down to the nation's capital to take on the Nationals. Tuesday, they wound up winning 4-0. Wednesday, they won 12-3. And then Thursday, they wound up winning 3-0. But that was not the big story of the game. The big story was Dylan Cease throwing a no-hitter for the Padres, which was, I think, only the second no-hitter in all time when it comes to the Padres. So the fact that Dylan Cease threw a no-hitter against the Nationals was downright impressive. And I really am kicking myself for missing last week's show because of tech issues, but it's all good. I really want to give a massive shout out to Dylan Cease. That is so great right there. We rarely get to see no-hitters, especially from the Padres or any of the West Coast teams for that matter. But him throwing a no-hitter was so impressive. Yes, it was against the Nationals, but I don't care. It was a great feat for the Padres as well as Dylan Cease. And he gets a little bit of a tip of the invisible hat right there from yours truly. And then closing out the roundup from the previous week, we had the Dodgers actually doing pretty good. They swept the Boston Red Sox, and they also did quite a bit of work against those hated San Francisco Giants. So The previous Friday, they took down the Red Sox 4-1, and then they took them down 7-6 via a walk-off, which I thought was pretty good. That was a close one, but thankfully for the Dodgers' sake, they were able to get that victory over the, I wouldn't say hated Red Sox, but we still have nightmares about when they beat us in the World Series that one year. I think it was 2016, but I digress. And then Sunday, the Dodgers, or the previous Sunday, they took down the Red Sox 9-6 to complete the sweep. I'm sorry to all my Boston friends out there. But against the Giants, the Dodgers wound up winning the first game in very narrow fashion, 3-2. And they wound up winning the second game on the previous Tuesday, 5-2, which I thought was good. Unfortunately, the Dodgers' luck and win streak kind of came to an end. They actually led 2-0 in this game on Wednesday, or the previous Wednesday. But unfortunately, they wound up losing to those Giants in Game 3, 8-3, which, 2-0 after 2 innings, and then unfortunately the Dodgers pooped the bed. Fortunately for the Dodgers, they were able to bounce back and get a nice 6-4 win over those I wouldn't say hated, but those despised San Francisco Giants. So a nice win right there. Nice way to cap off that series, winning 3 out of 4. And there you have it right there. That's the roundup from the previous week. So we're going to take ourselves one more commercial breaky break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how the Angels, Padres, and Dodgers did this week. And then we have the dum-dums of the week. And then we have a little bit of a 4-year anniversary dedication when it comes to this show. So keep it locked here. You are listening to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
What's up, New York? This is Ricky K coming at you at the NY State of Sports, a new show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Listen to me every Thursday afternoon as we bring you the latest takes on the Yankees, Mets, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Plus, you get some college hoops and what's the local sports events going on in the area. It's a state that never sleeps, so why not get the opinions and sports takes that never sleep? Again, every Thursday, 2 p.m. to the NY State of Sports. We'll see you then.
Hey sports fans, are you in the market for Florida sports or just keeping up with the latest in the Panhandle? Palm Tree Sports is a dedicated audio hub to all things sports in the Sunshine State. We cover current events, big news, heavily favored opinions all across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and so much more. So come check us out every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a down south education on Florida sports and athletics. It's hosted by yours truly, Corey Pujols, and is powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
That's right, everybody. IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Definitely check out those amazing shows, Palm Tree Sports, as well as NY State of Sports by Corey Pujols and Ricky K, respectfully. But let's get on into the final segment of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. So let's talk this week. So I talked the previous week when it came to the Angels, Dodgers, and Padres. So let's talk this week. So after sweeping the Seattle Mariners, the Angels kind of went on the struggle bus as they wound up struggling. They were straight struggling against the Oakland Athletics. The Oakland Athletics. And unfortunately, they lost the first game 6-5. This was this past Thursday, or last Thursday, not yesterday Thursday, but last Thursday. And then last Friday, they wound up losing 5-4. They actually scored 4 runs in the first inning, but they never scored again those bats went silent at a bad time for those poor Angels. And then on Saturday, they wound up losing 3-1 until they wound up salvaging at least one win, winning 8-6. I don't get why the Angels struggle against the Athletics. I mean, yes, they wound up sweeping them in that one series, but against the Athletics aren't the greatest team. They're one of the worst teams in the MLB, but then again, the Angels are kind of trending right close behind him. So that's the bad news right there. So again, in their other series against the Colorado Rockies, they wound up winning the first game on Tuesday, 10-7, until they lost the second game on Wednesday, 2-1, as Brenton Doyle hit a go-ahead home run in the top of the 8th inning for Colorado, which was very bad. It got worse for the Angels as Luis Rengifo actually injured himself on the swing as he flared up, according to him. And then Thursday in the rubber match, the Rockies wound up winning that one 5-4 as Jack Cave hit a 2-run game-tying home run in the 9th. And this was the most Angels way to lose a game. So the Angels, remember how I was complimenting them on their pitching against the Mariners. The bad pitching reared its ugly head as Jack Cave hit that game-tying 2-run homer in the 9th. And unfortunately, the Angels wound up having one of the worst throwing errors ever, as remember the second base rule in extra innings is still a thing, as the Angels had a throwing error to first base, and eventually it brought home the man on second all the way home, which, Angels, why you got to do this to me? And to the Rockies are no better than the Angels. So, and it gets much worse, ladies. Much worse, ladies and gentlemen. The Angels, Mike Trout is out for the year with a meniscus tear. Yeah, he's out for the year. As if the Angels season wasn't bad as is. We have to see him getting another year wasted because the Angels can't bring him any more team help. This is absolutely sad here. I feel horrible for Mike Trout. He's going to be 33 years old. 33. And I don't think he's won a playoff game, let alone a playoff series. So I feel bad for Mike Trout. It's another year wasted of Mike Trout. So thanks a lot, Angels, for wasting yet another year when it comes to Mike Trout. So I feel bad for Mike Trout. Feel better, Mike. And hopefully he comes back stronger, though. Again, he's going to be 33 come next season, and my concerns for him are really high. So that's that for the Angels. Now for the Padres, they actually did very impressive against the Orioles and the Dodgers. But first, we got to talk about their series against the Orioles. So the Orioles obviously are a good team. They're trying to vie for either the AL East crown or at least a wild card. So for the Padres, they wound up winning the first game 6-4. And then the second game, 9-4. So 2 good wins over a very talented Orioles team on the road, mind you. But unfortunately, they lost the final game of the series, losing 8-6. But still, taking 2 out of 3 on the road is pretty impressive. So before I go into Dodgers, Padres, the Dodgers, I got to talk a little about the Dodgers, as their series against the Astros could not have gone any worse. So against the Astros last Friday, they wound up losing 5-0. Oh God! And every Astros fan was probably dancing over the moon and whatnot. And then Saturday, this loss was even more bad. The Dodgers wound up losing that one 7-6, and the Dodgers were actually up quite a bit. I think they were up like 6-4, and then eventually the Astros tied it up at 6-6 in the 8th inning. And then the 9th inning, Alex Bregman had a walk-off home run to win it for Houston. Yay! And then eventually the Dodgers salvaged one win as they beat the Astros 6-2. But let's be honest, the Astros kind of threw out a AAA pitcher, and that wasn't going to – they weren't going to win that one. If the Dodgers had lost that one, we would have had to ask some questions. But for the Dodgers, I'm just going to say – that was complete doo-doo right there. But it gets worse. Well, I know the Dodgers pitching is completely thin, and they've been decimated with injuries when it comes to their pitching, but it gets worse. The Padres, They didn't just beat the Dodgers. They wound up sweeping them. So the first game, oh my God, this was another Dodgers blunder. So the Padres wound up beating the Dodgers at Petco Park 6-5 in 10 innings. So Dodgers were up 5-3, and then Manny Machado and Jackson Merrill, yeah, I think it's Merrill. They both hit back-to-back home runs. As if the Dodgers bad pitching is starting to rear its ugly head as is. It now reared its ugly head in this game against the rival on the road. And eventually, Donovan Solano had the game-winning RBI for them Padres to get the win, and that was a big win right there. So I got to give credit where credit is due. Padres really earned that one. They've had their struggles against the Dodgers, but they really earned that one. They had to really rally back to win that one. Down 5-3 in the bottom of the ninth, tied it up, and eventually wound up winning it via a RBI single. That's impressive. The sad thing is for the Dodgers, they scored 5 runs in the first inning, but they failed to score after that. 5 runs in the first inning, and they went 9 scoreless innings after that. That's just disappointing, especially in the 10th inning where you have the second baseman, the man on second base with no one out rule. That's disappointing if you ask me. And it was a much worse loss on Wednesday as the Padres wound up beating the Dodgers 8-1. That was just straight up ugly for the Dodgers. But again, Padres, they've been looking really good as of late. They beat the Guardians, which is a good team. They beat they took the series against the Guardians and the Orioles, and they just swept the Dodgers. And they also swept the Nationals as well, even though the Nationals aren't that great. But still, the Padres are in a position to get a wild card spot. They're currently in one of the 3 wild card spots. And that could be very dangerous for them because if they play their cards right, they could be toppling any team. They just got to have everybody on the same page. And thankfully, it's not just Fernando Tatis Jr. trying to will this team to victory. It's also other players stepping up like Manny Machado and Jackson Merrill. So I think for the Padres, this is going to be very fun the next few months. And they're actually not too far back of the Dodgers. They're actually only 4.5 games back. Also, the Diamondbacks are 5 games back of the Dodgers for that NL West lead. So the Dodgers going over to them, they have to be very, very careful. But for the Dodgers, they actually acquired quite a bit of help before the trade deadline. So the Dodgers acquired Jack Flaherty, who is actually a Southern California product out of Harvard Westlake High School, Michael Kopech, Tommy Edman, Kevin Kiermaier, and Ahmed Rosario before the trade deadline. So for Flaherty, he's a pitcher and a real good one at that. He actually was really good, but I think he was on the Pirates. Then he got shipped off to the Tigers, and then eventually he is now on the Dodgers, which was one of his favorite teams. And again, he comes back to Southern California, which he was a product of having played for Harvard Westlake. And then Michael Kopech is a good right-handed pitcher. Unfortunately, those were the only pitchers that the Dodgers acquired, as Edman is an infielder and outfielder, Kevin Kiermaier is a center fielder, and Ahmed Rosario is an infielder and outfielder. So it's good that the Dodgers got some depth, especially to their ailing pitchers who are either on IR or coming off of IR, aka Clayton Kershaw. So I think for the Dodgers, they need all the help that they can get because it can't be Shohei Ohtani just trying to will this team to victory. No, they need all the help they can get. Well, that's going to do it for the Dodgers portion of the show. So next up for every team, for the Angels, they are back in action tonight, Saturday and Sunday against the Mets at Angel Stadium. And then next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, they hit the road to the Bronx to take on the Yankees, which they go from Mets to Yankees. So talk about a nice little two-way subway series. And then as for the Padres, they are back in action tonight, Saturday, and Sunday against the Colorado Rockies. And then next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, they head down to the Yinzer City to take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then for the Dodgers, they are back in action as this tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday, they hit the road to Oakland to take on those Oakland Athletics. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's a big series for the Dodgers as they host the Philadelphia Phillies. That could kind of be the remedy for them. Well, at least for the Athletics, they got to do well against the Athletics because they're not the Angels. That's for sure. There are no Angels. See what I did there? But the Dodgers are the Dodgers need to find some answers ASAP before they face those Phillies. Otherwise, they might not be as up to snuff when it comes to facing those Phillies. But I digress. All right, but that is going to do it for the MLB portion of the show. So before we get on air, we have two more segments to go over. First one being the Dum Dums of the week. So notice Dum Dums of the week. So anyone can get this award. No one is safe from this award. And I will just say I've got two because I missed last week. So last week's Dum Dum of the week. All right. So there are lots of holidays that I've seen. There's Leif Erikson Day. There's the traditional ones like Christmas and Easter. There's National Donut Day. There's National Hot Dog Day, etc., etc. But this holiday takes the cake of probably weirdest and worst holidays out there. And it's not even a holiday. But this day, last Saturday, was actually one of the weirdest days out there. So last Saturday was, can we get a drum roll, please? Last Saturday was Take Your Plant for a Walk Day. Take your plants for a walk day. Plants do not walk unless you have a man-eating plant, which if you do, I am praying for you. But who would want to take a plant for a walk? Are you just going to put the plant in a flower pot with dirt and then just walk it in a wagon? People are going to, unless you're like a botanist or a florist, people are going to look at you like you're weird. I don't get it. Whoever came up with this holiday of take your plant for a walk day, you got to be on some loopy stuff, man. Like, you are crazy for having this. Take your plant for a walk day. It had to have been a floralist or a botanist when it came to having take your plant for a walk day. I could not believe it when I heard it. It's like, that's weird, dude. So when I find out who this person is, I will basically hopefully try to reach out to them and tell them, why would you have this whole thing? And I hope for actual botanists and plant lovers out there, you don't get offended, but this is just a weird day, dude. Like, who has take your plant for a walk day? Are you really who would want to put a leash on a plant and put it in a wagon and then pull it all over the place saying, hey, this is my plant? Like, it's natural for a dog to have a dog like that, but for a plant, you think other botanists and floralists are going to be doing that thing? I don't know, but whoever invented take your plant for a walk day, I gotta laugh at you, and I also gotta give you this Dum Dum of the week right here. Who comes up with this stuff? Yeah, I don't believe. Who would have take your plant for a walk day? I don't get it. I don't get it. I will never get it. I will never ever 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 get it. So yeah, person who invented take your plant for a walk day, I'm disappointed. All right, but that's the first Dum Dum of the week. So Dum Dum of the week number 2. This one kind of is basically, this one is self-explanatory. The Angels. I'm so disappointed in them. They have wasted a generational talent in Mike Trout. The fact that they could not get this man to the playoffs, let alone one playoff win, is beyond disappointing. And now he's out for the season. So I just can't believe it. Like, Artie Moreno has to sell the team. Artie Moreno is the man that has led this circus when it comes to Mike Trout not making the playoffs, let alone not even winning a playoff game. I'm just so disappointed in this. And honestly, I really wish Artie Moreno would sell the Angels. I'm sorry. I'm speaking this from a fan's perspective, but this is just downright disappointing. The Angels have wasted Mike Trout with injury after injury after injury and wasted season after wasted season after wasted season. And unfortunately, the poor dude, like I said, he's out for the season. Get him some pitching help. Get him some backup. They've also wasted Anthony Rendon. Anthony Rendon might be the biggest bust sign I've ever seen. $256, $58 million down the toilet just to see a guy pop in and out on IR. It's absolutely disappointing, and I can't stand for it. It's really making my blood boil. Like, oh, as an Angels fan, it makes me sick to my stomach. But the Angels, I'm just here to tell you this. Sell the team, Artie Moreno. You're dumb of the week. There's no debate on that. You wasted another year of Mike Trout. Shame on you.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
I can't do this anymore with the Angels. All right, but that's that for the dum-dums of the week. I don't know if you heard these sound effects, but it is what it is. But before I head on out, I actually do want to make note of something. So this is actually going to be the 4-year, last month was actually the 4-year anniversary of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. And I actually went live on July 8th. So July 8th, 2020 was when I did my first ever show, which I think was pretty cool. Unfortunately, that day wound up falling on a Monday when I did set point. And I had a lot of other stuff going on when it came to the Olympics. And I was just getting over getting sick that weekend. And I had to get well before my volleyball event when it came to USA versus the Netherlands. But what it means to have 4 years of this show. Well, I'm surprisingly closing in on 200 episodes. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to get those 200 episodes right away. I'm probably going to have to wait until October. I think the first week of October is when I'm going to be hitting 200 episodes of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I would have been closer to 200 episodes had it not been for tech issues last week, but unfortunately my laptop did not want to cooperate. But it means a lot to do this show. I know I'm not as dedicated with this show as I am with Set Point, but I really enjoy doing this show. I've loved having my brother on, as well as other guests like my friend who was a Boston sports fan, and Daryl Trujillo, a reporter for Whack Hoops and whatnot, as well as a sports reporter in the Inland Empire. But it really means a lot to celebrate 4 years of the show. And it hasn't been the easiest 4 years, but honestly, I look forward to continuing I look forward to continuing the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I might as well just get this out of the way real quick. So I had some surprises going forward, as I told you all I had some surprises for this NFL season. I don't know if I did, but for this NFL season, I plan on doing like recap videos on Spreaker, or not recap videos on Spreaker, recap shows on Spreaker. I was going to have it like exclusive. Maybe I'll have it some exclusive, but I'll just like do quick recap shows on Spreaker. But we'll see. Maybe I could transition to StreamYard and do the quick recap videos, but not quick recap videos, like detailed recap videos. Because let's be honest, when it comes to this show, I used to like have like long shows. That and Set Point too. Sometimes my shows would be like 90 minutes. Sometimes they would be over 100 minutes. With me being on StreamYard, I've learned to basically cut the fat down and go boom, 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 and not go fully detailed. So I think for my NFL and college football segments, it's going to be like quick and dirty to the point where it's not all that long. And then I'm going to have the full detailed recap when it comes to Spreaker, when I do like extra episodes of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, or when I recap the Chargers or the Rams or USC and UCLA and all the other SoCal schools like San Diego State, Cal Poly, University of San Diego and the FCS, and Cal Poly and the FCS, so on and so forth. So I really have a bunch of new things I want to do with the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. We'll see what happens though, but I'm not going anywhere. I love doing this show. I hope to one day have my brother on when it comes to StreamYard. Maybe I'll take a trip to Texas back again, and then maybe he and I can do a show together. It's probably going to be really Rams heavy and Lakers heavy and Clippers heavy, maybe Dodgers heavy, but all in all for this show, it really means a lot to do this show. I feel horrible for missing last week just because I haven't missed a week since maybe March or April, but I love doing this show, and I could not be more happy to have 4 years of this show underneath my belt. And this show might actually have helped me land a possible job, knock on wood, perhaps, but it's still up in the air on if the employers that interviewed me get back to me or not. But I'm still hopeful, and with this show, I'm hoping to maybe lead me to bigger things, just like for Set Point. But all in all, that's basically what this show means, and maybe I can get this show to grow more. But I know a house is never built overnight, as Marcus once said. But I'm happy to do this show. I wouldn't want to have it any other way. Sometimes the road is never easy, but it's very rewarding. And 4 years of SoCal Supreme Sports Show underneath my belt is quite amazing. And again, I wouldn't have it any other way. And I've evolved this show. I one time had a theme where there was just audio clips of basically licenses and whatnot, to eventually having another theme which was basically just perfect as is without any licensed audio clips, and eventually having Dum of the Week and whatnot. So there you go. All right, and that is that. And I actually do want to celebrate the 4-year anniversary of the show on this day, because today is actually August 2nd, 2024. So August 2nd, 2024. So August and 2024, those are the years, or those are the numbers of Kobe Bryant. And then number 2 was Gigi Bryant's number, which they obviously have passed away with the others in that tragic helicopter crash. But their spirits live on, and that's why I want to celebrate the 4-year anniversary of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show on this day, just because it honors Kobe Bryant and Gigi Bryant and their lives. So I want to basically do that right there and then. So I felt that this was the perfect day to do so, because if I put it off for another week or so, I'm never going to remember. So there you go. And happy August 2nd, 2024 day, which is basically Black Mamba and Gigi Mamba Day. And they also, and the statue that was unveiled was absolutely perfect. Beautiful right there. If you haven't seen it, definitely do check it out. But that's going to do it for this week's episode of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time we get on out of here, because I got to get me some grub, because I got the munchies. Yeah, dig? Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in. If you look down there, I say that when I truly mean it. Thank you, SoCal. Thank you to all of the fans that have tuned in, whether it's on Spreaker or on StreamYard or any podcast platform. You really mean a lot. I really do appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. You're the reason why I keep doing the show. And all of the people that I've met on Twitter, such as Casey with BTB, and I think his name is like Rams for Life. The list goes on and on. You all are amazing, and you all are incredible, and I appreciate your support. And also shout out to the live chat room, such as Nathan of the Seattle Sideline, Alden K of Always Arizona Sports, and Jen B. She said have a great show, Tim. I really do appreciate y'all. SoCal Supreme Sports Show ain't going anywhere unless I say so. But again, thank you to everyone for all of your support. I love you. You all are amazing. For everyone here at IE Radio, this is Teran Rodriguez signing off. Have yourself a great weekend. Enjoy the SoCal sports action. Also enjoy the Olympics. USC has the most Olympians of all NCAA schools. So just keep that in mind. But have a great weekend. Enjoy the Olympics. Enjoy everything. Enjoy the SoCal sports action, even though the Angels have wasted another year of Mike Trout. And I will see you all on Monday for Set Point. Have a great weekend. Stay cool, stay hydrated, and remember, SoCal is for SoCal. Peace!